Assalamu alaikum, dear students, dear viewers. As you know, we are discussing the poem Last Lesson of the Afternoon, written by D.H. Lawrence. We discussed the summary of the poem, and then we discussed the poem by stanzas. And in my previous lecture, I discussed with you the textual questions of this poem. We discussed only 5 questions in my previous lecture, and today we are going to discuss remaining 4 questions of this poem. Let's go to the question number 6, which is, what do you think take the toll of their insults in punishment means? यानी take the toll of their insult in punishment means, ये poem में एक line है, what does it mean? इसके मायने क्या है? The poet has used here a figurative language. Toll is a kind of tax that has to be paid for using a road. जैसे आपको पता है कि टोल हमें देना पड़ता है जब हम कोई रोड इस्तेमाल करते हैं. The teacher here projects himself as a road on which the students parried their insults, and for parrying these insults they had to pay the toll in the form of punishments. In simple words, the students used to insult the teacher and the teacher would punish them in return. तो यहाँ पे जो स्टूडेंट्स है, टीचर को लग रहा है कि वो टीचर की इंसल्ट कर रहे हैं क्योंकि उनको कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है पढ़ने में, स्टडीज में उनका कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है. तो यहाँ पे जो स्टूडेंट्स है, दे यूज टू इंसल्ट द टीचर एंड द टीचर वुड पुनिश देम इन रिटर्न क्या टीचर क्या करेगा? ही विल पुनिश देम. सो दिस इज द मीनिंग ऑफ टेक द टोल ऑफ देयर इंसल्ट इन पुनिशमेंट. सो नाउ क्वेश्चन नंबर 7. Why does the teacher feel that his teaching and the pupils' learning are both purposeless? Pick out words and phrases which show that he shares his pupils' indifference to their work. तो यहाँ पे हमने पढ़ा पोएम है कि टीचर जो है, टीचर को महसूस हो रहा है कि उसकी जो वो जो एफर्ट्स दे रहा है, वो जो टीचिंग के लिए कोशिश कर रहा है बच्चों को पढ़ाने की, दैट इज पर्पसलेस. उसका कोई मकसद ही नहीं है क्योंकि बच्चे उसको रेस्पॉन्ड नहीं कर रहे हैं. तो क्यों टीचर ऐसा फील कर रहा है? तो ये हमें सवाल पूछा गया है, तो मैं आपको इसका आंसर बताऊंगा. The teacher finds that the students have no interest in learning. As I already told you that the teacher finds that the students have no interest in learning. They have no interest. They do not want to learn. So he loses interest in teaching also. So what happens? So when students students have no interest in learning, this has an impact on the teacher also. The teacher also loses interest in teaching. So teaching becomes a futile. That's why this teaching learning, the whole process becomes a futile exercise. If the learner is not willing to learn, it becomes a teaching learning process becomes a futile exercise if the students are not ready to learn. Finding the students indifferent to learning, the teacher becomes indifferent to teaching also. So, teacher, when he sees their indifferent approach, when he sees their negative approach towards the studies, so क्या होता है कि in return the teacher becomes indifferent to teaching also. This common indifference is clear from such lines as I do not and will not, they would not and they do not, and that's all. So ये लाइन जो लाइन की जो पोएम की जो ये लाइन है, I do not and will not, they would not and they do not and that's all, ये हमें इस चीज का इशारा देती है कि जो स्टूडेंट्स हैं इनको कोई इंटरेस्ट नहीं है पढ़ने में. और इन रिटर्न क्या होता है कि जो टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस है ये पर्पसलेस रह जाती है क्योंकि स्टूडेंट्स की जो इनडिफरेंट अप्रोच है टुवर्ड स्टडीज, इसका इम्पैक्ट टीचर पे भी पड़ता है. So question number 8 यहाँ पे, do you find any connection between the beginning and the ending of the poem? The beginning of the poem shows the poet's weariness. He is sick of doing something which he feels is all futile. There is a streak of agony also in his expression. But by the end of the poem, the poet is all calm and resolute. He has resolved not to waste his time and energy on a useless exercise. He has decided to keep it for himself and use it in his own way. Now, we will go to the question number 9. After reading this poem, write an account of your opinion, idea in 100 to 200 words about this poem. हमें इस poem के बारे में अब अपना एक आइडिया देना है. तो this poem records the honest feelings of a teacher about his job A teacher is supposed to give his best to his students, but there is also another point to be considered. Teaching can never be one-way affair. There can be no teaching if the learner is not willing to learn. So जब हम ये पोएम पढ़ते हैं, यहाँ पे हमें हमारी माइंड में क्या ओपिनियन बनती है, क्या आइडिया बनता है, उसको हमें डिस्कस करना है. जो जब हम ये पोएम पढ़ते हैं, हमारे जहन में एक चीज क्लियर हो जाती है कि दिस टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस जो है, इट्स अ टू वे प्रोसेस. इट इज नॉट अ सिंगल प्रोसेस. इट इज नॉट a single process where a teacher has to deliver. No, it's a two-way process. A student, a learner must be willing to learn. Then and only this teaching learning process is successful. But here in the poem, it shows the unwillingness, the unreadiness of these students, of these learners, that in return has an impact on the teacher also. There can be no teaching if the learner is not willing to learn. You can take the horse to the pond, but you cannot make it drink. Yes, you can send a student to school, but you cannot make him learn. A student will learn if and only if he wants to learn. And what will the poor teacher do if the student is not willing to learn? He will simply sit down and wait for the bell to go. And this is what the teacher in the poem decides to do. And he goes even a step further. He decides to keep his energy for himself and use it in his own way. He will give up the futile and thankless job of teaching and do something worthwhile. So यहाँ पे हमें यही आइडिया, यही ओपिनियन हमारे माइंड में बनती है कि जो टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस, इट्स अ टू वे प्रोसेस. स्टूडेंट्स मस्ट बी ready to learn, then and only a teacher can deliver. Thank you. इसके साथ ही हमारी जो पोएम है लास्ट लेसन ऑफ द आफ्टरनून, ये यहाँ पे खत्म होती है. थैंक यू.